Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Monday, July 14th for me. It's Tuesday, July 15th for Sam, because I did Garden Report after the game, and it's now 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Western. But we're here. Celtics first loss of Summer League, lost to the Miami Heat. Apologies off the rip. This is not going to be a full podcast. You might see some shorter podcasts while I'm in Vegas. I'm very sorry. It's crazy. There's also not a lot of great places to record, so it's harder to do a full 40 minutes podcast. I mean, I just did an hour of Garden Report in here, and I already feel bad because I'm just in the media room. But Celtics lose 100-96. We're down by 13, I think it was, in the first half, came all the way back to take a lead, and then they ended up losing and falling to the Heat. Some solid performances, some less than solid performances. This felt like the first time they went up against a real center, which I think you felt because the first two games it kind of felt like Charles Bassey was dominating, excuse me, and then go up against Khalil Ware, and it's a little less of that. And you run out of the offensive rebounds that gave you extra offense. You run out of the extra, corner crashes that gave you offense, and a lot of those missed shots just turned into rebounds for the Heat that you're not getting points off of. But where do you want to start, Sam?
I mean, we could start there. I just wrote 500 words on it, so I'm feeling fresh, feeling very informed, feeling sharp. Jack and I talked about this a little bit actually on the Friday pod, whatever the first game was, where we were talking a little bit, and also the Sunday morning pod that we talked more about Bassey, where his first two games were great, but in Summer League, you can't put too much weight into that because just think about what Nimi did last year in Summer League, where he dominated. He averaged like 21 points, 8.5 rebounds, a couple of blocks. He looked like the best player on the floor. And then we're all kind of talking ourselves into maybe he's going to be able to be an impactful player for the Celtics this year, especially because Porzingis was going to miss the first month or two with ankle surgery after the finals, right? And yet, Keita was really an afterthought behind Cornette, and that was that. Bassey dominates two games, looks like prime Shaq in both of them, plays against a guy who is an all-rookie center this year, made the second team, and gets outplayed. He only had 10 and 9, where Khalil Ware had 21 and 15. And, in fairness to Charles Bassey, he did not play a bad game. 10 and 9 is not a bad stat line, but he didn't feel as impactful as he did in the first two games, where you just felt like, man, they're just dominating right now. They're getting everything. Nobody can stop them inside. That just wasn't the case today. So for everybody that's like, they got to sign this guy, he's the savior, he's going to be the starting center next year, this is a reminder that while maybe they could sign him and have an extra body in the center rotation that they like, he's probably not going to come in and change the course of the season.
A little bit of a switch up for me based on my usual comments.
Whoa.
This is a game where Nimi probably would have been a lot better. Like this is a prime example of where you're seeing like why you would probably feel more comfortable just playing Neemias Queta and not bother signing Charles Bassey. He's got a few inches on him. He's a better rebounder overall. He's a stronger guy, so he can keep those box outs there. He's got longer arms, so he can get those rolls and have more of an impact on the glass. Like for as much as I have been down on Nimi, and I still like am not fully in on him being this, solution for the Celtics. I think there's a lot of work he needs to do in terms of his timing, in terms of his spatial awareness on the floor, and all that stuff. This is why the upside and the potential is higher with Nimi. Games like this, where you're going up against a guy who is 7 foot plus, where you're going up against a guy who has freak athleticism, who is great on the boards, who can block a lot of shots. Like you need those physical gifts that Nimi has and Charles Bassey doesn't necessarily have. And like you said, Charles Bassey wasn't bad. He had 10 and 9. He was 4 or 7, which isn't ideal for a center, but like he's rolling decently well. He was fighting on the glass. I don't know if he had a block, but he had one block. He impacted a few plays around the rim. But like this is a game where you would rather just bank on the potential of Nimi and what he could become rather than go to a guy who will, if Charles Bassey played regular minutes for the Celtics, he'd probably give him like 6 and 6 or 6 and 5 or something. It'd be fine. It'd be cool. But the difference between him and Nimi is that you pretty much know what you're going to get with Charles Bassey at this point, if he's on the court. And that's a big if, because he hasn't been on the court up to this point in his career. The thing with Nimi is maybe one night he'll shoot 1 of 6 from the field, have 2 points, 4 fouls, and he's off the court. but the next night he's giving you 12 and 10 with 3 blocks, right? And you bank on the potential of him being able to do that more consistently. And so I understand it, and I think this was, I don't want to say a wake up call because that feels a bit too aggressive and outlandish for summer league, but like Charles Bassey is fine, but he's not going to come in and be the answer. And I think myself included, everyone got a little bit too excited about the potential of seeing him. And I mean, I had a whole tweet like they need to sign him, and it got picked up a lot. But like, I think this was a good like, let's all calm down a little bit game for the Charles Bassey hype train. Do I still think it could be worth it for them to sign him? Absolutely, right? He's young. He's younger than Amy. Like he still could have potential, but I think this was an indicator of why you can understand why the Celtics might just want to bank on the potential of Nemish Queta and maybe Luka Garza and maybe Amari Williams if he gets out of minutes. So I think this was just a good indicator of let's all remember why Charles Bassey is playing Summer League to begin with, if that makes sense.
Summer League in what, year 4, by the way? Like,
he's played
this
4.
isn't like,
yeah.
They listen.
Will Ware has had 1 year, and so he's back. But like this is not the same.
I said this to Jake on the playback, and also I think the recap, whatever we did afterwards, it's all a blur. If you, as a fan base, are relying putting all of your chips on a guy who is a Summer League center who's coming off the bench when everybody on the roster's playing, by the way, to be your starting center in the regular season, something has gone terribly wrong. Unless you drafted that guy in like the first round. Like, unless that is your top draft pick that everyone's like, let's get a look at him in Summer League. If you're looking at a 4th-year guy that's coming back to Summer League to try and get his foot in the door in the NBA, it's not going well. And that's okay. But you just have to acknowledge it for what it is, because it doesn't seem like that's the answer. He could be a guy at the end of the bench, but he's not going to be your savior.
No, I don't think he will be. Let's go to Hugo Gonzalez. 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 of 12 in the field, 1 of 7 for 3. Not great, but the real problems were 7 fouls and 6 turnovers. It's almost like a good thing and a bad thing, the way he acts on the court, right? And I asked him about it in the post-game scrum, right? He hates himself every time he makes a mistake. Hugo Gonzalez wants to go in the bathroom, put soap in his mouth, and like waterboard himself every time he turns the ball over. Like he cannot fathom the fact that making a mistake is okay. And on the one hand, like I asked him about it, he goes, it's because when I finish my career in 30 years, I want to look back and make sure I did everything to be the best possible player and help win championships. And like that psycho mentality is exactly what Celtics fans are going to fall in love with. Like he is going to rival Joe in terms of being an absolute like psychopath. At the same time, it's like something he needs to grow out of in the moment. Like you can do that after the game. You can be pissed at yourself after the game. If you miss a shot in the middle of a game, you can't put your head down and get mad. If you turn the ball over, you can't go to the baseline and start swearing in Spanish, which I was assuming he was saying. I obviously can't understand Spanish, but like he was just talking to himself. Like he gets too caught up in every individual mistake that it affects the next play. And that's the thing that you need to grow out of. And obviously he's 19, so it's going to change. But like it's like a two-sided coin. Like it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's the reason he's going to probably be successful and why fans will enjoy watching him play, but it's also something he needs to grow out of if he wants to find that success.
Yeah, the close-ups on Hugo today, he looked like he was like discouraged visibly. Like he looked
every
like
time
he was in shambles. You put it so aptly, like he gets far too upset with himself, but you could just kind of tell he was in a whirlwind this game. At the same time, I think he looks confident shooting the ball. Defensively, he plays with really great intensity, which the 7 fouls would tell you. Which, by the way, for those that aren't fully aware, in a regular NBA game, you can't commit 7 fouls. You can only do 6, and then you foul out. I mean, technically, if you want, you can keep the person in, and they just get a technical every time they commit an extra foul. But isn't allowed. With that being said, I thought in the fourth quarter he was actually kind of impressive. Like, think of the absolute shitstorm of a game that Hugo had. He made a couple of big plays as the Celtics were kind of throwing haymakers with the Heat. Made a big 3, then gets an offensive rebound and puts it back up, which is like the signature hustle guy play to make in a tight game. So it showed a little bit about his character, despite like the clear overwhelming discouragement that he was feeling in the moment. Kept his head up, made some big plays. They didn't end up winning the game, but there were flashes of encouragement there. It wasn't perfect, right? But who knows what's going to happen with him going forward. They are asking him to do a little bit more than he would be doing with the actual Celtics. He's literally playing point guard, where in Boston he may just be relegated to play defense, be ready off the ball, whether you're cutting or catch and shoot, and go from there.
Yeah, I think it's important to get those reps though. Like, it's probably going to look ugly. He's 19 and he didn't handle the ball a lot at Real Madrid this past year because he was on such a big stacked roster. But if you want him to have hope of being a guy who can handle the ball, even if it's just as like a secondary creator in the NBA, like there's no better place to do it than right now in summer league, where these games do not matter at all in the grand scheme of things, right? So it's good to get him those reps. It's good to see what he's got, and he's definitely got a lot of work to do. It feels like a lot of the time he ends up just roaming into space and driving into space and not knowing what to do. And I know, like, I think you said it in one of our group chats, he kind of just does the ear up step as if he doesn't know any other move in the basketball index. Like, that's the only thing he knows how to do.
He knows how to hold his right stick down diagonal on 2K, and that's the only thing he knows how to do in the paint.
Exactly. Baylor Scheierman has been another hot topic of conversation on social media. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 steals, but only shot 7 of 19 from the field and 4 of 13 from 3. I've actually liked what Baylor's been doing so far. Like, there comes a point, obviously, and I tweeted this, right? There comes a point where you have to hit your shots. It's not been good enough, flat out. Like, there's no way around it. He has not been good enough, point blank, period. However, he is the opposite of Hugo Gonzalez. He misses a shot, he doesn't care, and he moves on to the next play, and he gets a steal. And I don't think the defense has been as good as the 5 steals might indicate. Like, a lot of those were, I'm going to poke it from behind, I'm going to take a risk, get it paid off. But if those risks don't pay off, then he's getting blown by, and it's a 2-on-1 and an easy bucket for Miami. So it just happened to work tonight, and I think he needs to work on that moving forward. But the ball handling has been great. He's probably going to have a lot of I'm seeing this on the Garden Report. Like, everyone talks about, oh, Jalen, Derek, and Peyton. Like, they're obviously going to be the lead ball handlers. But when you lose Drew and Tatum and Porzingis and Horford and all these guys, like, you're going to need secondary creators on the floor. Pritchard and Derek White were those secondary creators. They're now going to be primary creators. You need guys to be the secondary creators on the floor for when the first action doesn't work. You swing it and you make something happen in a second pick and roll. It's going to be Scheierman. Like, he's going to have to do that in the NBA this year. And he's showing a lot of great signs. He had 9 assists tonight. I think he had 5 against the Knicks. And the biggest thing to me is he is getting guarded by some of the best players in these games. That is not going to happen in the NBA. And obviously, the best player in the summer league is probably about as good as the second best player in a rotation who's going to be guarding, or probably even worse. But the point is, like, he is showing a lot of good signs in terms of getting reps, making plays for others, and making shots off the dribble, and finding things in the lane, and making plays going downhill, and moving in transition, and finishing around the rim. Like, there are a lot of positive signs. And obviously the 3-point shot, again, it needs to come around. If he's going to play significant NBA minutes throughout the rest of his career, he's going to have to be a good shooter. But I think that's the nature of his game. Is he's a streaky shooter. He's more comfortable shooting off the dribble than he is off the catch. And that's something he's going to have to really work on. But I tweeted it too. Like, the whole Hauser versus Scheierman thing has never made any sense to me. They're completely different players. They're going to play different roles. And I think you're seeing that in summer league with Scheierman as pretty much the point guard or secondary point guard behind Shoga.
Yeah, the Hauser comparisons are ridiculous. It's just not. Yeah, they kind of look similar, but like, they're not gonna do the same thing. Like, this is just not how this works. Scheierman has a completely different game. He does do different things, and he's a good passer, and I think we've seen that.
Also, 10 minutes ago, Drew Peterson signed a 2-way deal with the Hornets. So shout out. I didn't see that. Sorry.
He will not be back.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to just like derail the Bassey chat we were having. Important.
You mean like I just did?
It is what it is. It's okay. It wasn't meant to be a jab. Anyways, they do completely different things. Like, Scheierman has good vision. He displayed that today. The issue with Scheierman is this. Scheierman is meant to be a secondary creator, which I agree with. I think there's potential there. Yet, he really doesn't. He makes good passes, but he's not really doing a lot to get the defense uncomfortable. Like, he'll make really good dishes in transition. I think he's a strong transition player. He had the sick pass from the floor after diving on the floor to get the steal and like perfectly weighted the pass like a quarterback, which he was like the best quarterback in Nebraska when he was growing up. He really he sets his guys up good. He had a nice shovel pass to Walsh in transition too. Like, I think he plays really well there, but like, don't expect him to be beating guys off the dribble. The other issue is he's not shooting the three really well. The stroke looks off. It looks really hard for him to get the ball up over the rim. I'm sure they're continuing to work on it with him in the summer and into the season, but I don't think that has been good enough. And granted, like, they are asking him to do a little bit more than he would be doing, but he's not like making the catch and shoot ones. Like, he missed some really big catch and shoot looks in this game.
I don't think he's a great catch and shoot shooter, and he's gonna have to improve on that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he has to improve that. Like,
exactly.
Yes, it's not his game. Yes, he's different than Hauser. But if you're going to be on the floor consistently for a Missoula team, you're going to have to be able to do it unless you're like
absolutely
otherworldly good at other things. But Shyman is not. He's not bad at everything, but he's not quite at the level he needs to be to mitigate the shooting or to make up for it. So missing momentum swinging threes in a game that was largely back and forth is a tough look. And I think that's why people are going to be upset about it, despite like the encouraging things. And if you want to talk about Hugo fouling, Scheierman also had 5 fouls. They actually combined averaged a foul out, 6 fouls between
shout out
on average. So
shout out.
Speaking of
rest
fouls,
of the roster.
Jordan
speaking
Walsh,
of fouls,
didn't talk about him yet.
Jordan Walsh, I forgot. Yes, ejected. See you later. Got a tech for jawing and shoving.
First
with Eric
ever
Stevenson.
summer league ejection for anybody on the planet.
I don't know. And then 2 minutes later, he got in a shoving match with Pelle Larsson in front of Brad Stevens, Bill Chisholm, and the entire Celtics front office. And you could see Brad being like, whoa, 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 when he saw the second shove. After the game, Walsh was like, yeah, low-key forgot I got that first tag in the moment. And he obviously apologized. He was like, yeah, I should have done it. I apologized to Brad already. He did say Joe texted him and said, I fucking love that. Or I don't think he swore, but he's like, I love that. Yeah, man. Not great. You don't really want to do that, especially he was playing pretty well before that too.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, this was a really bad read the room moment from Jordan Walsh because up until this point, nobody else on the Celtics was giving you anything that was at least substantial. Like, he was the only guy having a good game on the Celtics, and he got baited into getting ejected. And the punchline to all of it is, when he got baited into getting ejected, he was celebrating like he baited Pelle Larsson into getting a technical, and he wasn't going to get in trouble for it at all. He was like raising his fists and like nodding like he just outsmarted him, when in fact he had been ejected. So
I think he just likes being annoying. He just likes being a pain in the ass.
And
it just went too far. It just went too far.
I mean, they really could have used Walsh in the second half. I mean, do we really care if they win or lose this game? No. But in like the grand scheme of the summer league, this actually mattered because on the broadcast, I guess they were telling us it's only 4 teams that advance.
Yeah, top 4 teams advance to the playoffs.
Losing kind of means that you aren't going to do that. And when you're the only guy in your team that can do anything, maybe you want to be out there on the floor and not get ejected over something stupid.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. Anybody else? I mean, I continue to really like Max Shulga. The shot needs to come around. He has not been a good enough shooter up to this point in summer league.
Treat him like Ben Simmons, Jack.
He straight up needs to be a better shooter. There's no defense for that. And
every time he shoots, it's the Valentine clip.
If he ever wants to shoot or play in the NBA, he needs to hit his shots. However, he's been a phenomenal facilitator for this team. He had 8 assists tonight. He's been, I would say, their best ball handler. I think he's been the best guy with the ball in his hands. Maybe Scheierman's better, but like he is constantly calm. He is completely like in rhythm, like cool with whatever's happening. And he's the opposite of Hugo as well. Like, he doesn't care when he messes up. He's just going to move on to the next one. And he had 8 assists with no turnovers tonight. Like, for a guy who had the ball in his hands a lot, that's huge. And again, there's no excuses. He needs to be a better shooter. And if he's not a better shooter, he's never going to play in the NBA. However, I've liked what I've seen from him, especially defensively, man. He's guarding full court. He's pressing up. He's doing a lot of fun things there too. So shout out to him. I don't know if you want to talk about him too. Feel free to go to another player as we wind down here. But I'm a Max Shulga fan. I'm going to plant my flag, and maybe I'll be wrong. But
Kenny Lofton Jr.
Better.
Not only better, like night and day from like everybody on Twitter was like, he must have got a talking to, because immediately in this game, it was evident that he was playing seriously and like going to move the ball and actually find open teammates. If he had played like Jake made a great point in the playback or the post game. I don't know. I talked to him twice. If he had done this the first 2 games, we would probably be like, what if they invited him to training camp? Like, could he edge somebody for a roster spot? Like, he would be getting the Charles Bassey treatment. And I think it's almost different because his skill set goes beyond, he is bigger than everybody else, but it goes beyond that. Like, he's making jump shots. Like, he's crashing the offensive glass. Like, he really has a good nose for being aggressive, forcing the issue, getting to the free throw line. And today, he showed he had good vision and he was making good reads. Like, it was just a completely different player than we watched in the first 2 games. How does that happen? How do you show up the first 2 games and just play like you had never played on a team before?
I don't know, man. He was passing better too, like you said. Like it was just night and day for him. Miles Norris too, I thought was really good again in this game. Obviously didn't shoot the ball great, but I think what was missing for me defensively from Miles Norris in the first game he played, you saw a little bit more tonight. Like he's still not great one-on-one on the ball, but you can see how he can use his length and be a little bit better at getting steals and passing lanes and helping over at the rim. So it's going to be like, it shouldn't have to be this challenging to find a role for him defensively, given his athletic skill set, but it might just have to be. But at least you saw the glimpse of where he could fit in there. And then the offense is there. I mean, he's great at cutting. He's a freak athlete. He can shoot the ball. Then he needs to improve the streakiness. Kendall Brown, another guy, like really good cutting, good athlete, holds up decently well on defense. Like, I don't know if there's anything there. Maybe it's a main guy, but he was pretty intriguing. Everyone else was pretty whatever. Isaiah Wong was fine. Jalen Bridges looks okay. I thought he actually held up pretty okay on defense. And the shot looks nice. It didn't go in today, but like you can tell he's a very confident shooter. But I think that just about covers it. I'm excited to see who else plays. Amari Williams got a DNP. I think they're resting him because it was the second night of back-to-back, and we'll maybe see him later. But now that they lost, I do wonder if they're going to start shutting some of these guys down and just letting the guys who haven't played yet get more run.
Well, that'll make for just great basketball on Thursday.
Oh, baby. Ronnie versus Hayden Gray, the steals leader in NCAA. We'll see what happens.
Miles Norris, I think he's got something. There's something there. I don't know how substantial it is. I don't know if it's going to just be he plays well in Maine. I think there's a real path for him to have a role with the Celtics. It's what my takeaway was from game 1. Thought he had just like Hugo, wasn't like the most perfect Miles Norris game, but he had that stretch where he kind of willed the Celtics back into it early in the fourth quarter. He went on like his own mini run and was just forcing the issue. Really like what we've seen from him. Good size, good length. I think he's an okay-ish defender. Does okay, tries. He's not perfect.
My problem with guys like Miles Norris is like, it's one thing to be a bad defender if you're like really short or really unathletic or really like something. He is a great athlete. How are you not a good defender? That's where I'm like, what's the deal here? Like it's the same thing with Nemi. Like why are you not a good defender? It doesn't make any sense. Like how are you not a better defender than you are if you have all the tools? Like that's where it worries me, because then it's not you're just too short. You're just, something. It's like there's something like you're not fully grasping of how to stay in front of guys. And I think it can pan out. Like I do think there's roles he can play, but it's just like, that's where my concern lies with Miles Norris.
He is the guy that people should be like, is this the Hauser replacement more than Baylor? And he's
yes, but I don't think they should need a Hauser replacement. No, he's very streaky. But anyways, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I am tired.
We'll get out.
If I give you more thoughts, it's just gonna start like sounding like my brain's melting out my mouth.
Well, then appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday regularly. Game recaps are up the morning after each game, and other videos are up here in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. Again, leave a like. It really does help the channel. We're trying to grow. We've been growing quite a bit. Just in general, it's been really fun. So thank you. You can Find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there. So if you just want those followed, they'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Send us your summer league thoughts. hbtcpod@gmail. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's Jack's NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic tac.